So it turns out, Curtis, this is a big week for you.
Yes, and in fact, they got a roaring start yesterday, Mother's Day, in Kew Garden Hills, which might as well be Sid Rosenberg land there, right on Main Street and Jewel Avenue with Yakov, the Queens Jewish Link.
Oh, Searle.
Yes,
Yakov Searle.
That's right, and all the folks there as we went up and down the strip. And, boy, that was Sliwa land. So I've got my areas that people who have known me over the years, they didn't just discover, he's favorable to the Jews. We go back to Crown Heights. Where was Mario Cuomo? He was the governor there with his son Andrew. They were invisible. At Sharpton and, then Eric Adams, who was with Sharpton at that time, were really put into the Jews in Crown Heights. Who was there 30 days and 30 nights?
You.
I didn't see Schumer. I didn't see any of the other big markets.
Stop it.
They
I'm
abandoned the Lubavitchers.
Yeah. So why does Andrew Cuomo, forget about Adams, he'll get his people, it's Jewish Heritage Month, they'll go to Gracie Mansion, they'll give him checks, but he's dead man walking. I've said it to everybody in and around him. They know it's true. If he gets 8%, great. He has zero chance. It doesn't matter how much Trump backs him. Holman doesn't love him. Trust me, I know Tom Holman very well. He doesn't love him. Doesn't really trust him. Trump does, okay? Trump's trying. He ain't going to win. But Cuomo is a legitimate contender. He's still ahead in the polls. And for some reason, he does very well with the Jews. Why?
Because he bamboozles them. Where was he after October 7th? Right out in the Hamptons. He gave one speech at a synagogue. Raised a lot of money from Jews out there. He was supposed to do something for the Jews. I never saw anything on TV. I never saw any advertising. He was going to put together the greatest collection of Jews of all time and fight anti-Semitism. He did nothing. He did bupkis. Where was Sid Rosenberg and Danielle? Where was Curtis Lee and the Guardian Angels? Pouring rain outside Cooper Union when all of a sudden, in the days following, the students at NYU, the pro-Palestinian students, barnstormed over to Cooper Union, kept the Jewish students hostage in the library. In the library. Where was Cuomo? Where was Adams? Where were the rest of them? You know where I was, Sid, because you were there in the pouring rain.
Yeah. You were with me.
There weren't all that many Jews there either.
Like 35?
That's it.
2 nights before, there was like 6,000 pro-Palestinians in Bay Ridge.
Right, so you say to yourself, count your friends when it was really needed. Not when they were assessing, well, who's ahead? Is this going to cost me politically? Curtis Lee has always been there. And by the way, at the Daniel Penny banquet, to you, Sid Rosenberg, you really pumped it. You introduced me twice.
I did. Well, people were so happy you were there. They loved you in that place. They really did. And it was mostly Republicans, yes.
Yeah.
But it was also mostly New Yorkers who love this city. And they're sick and tired of what's going on. And they're not buying into Cuomo stuff. Jen Harrison was there. So it had nothing to do with me. As soon as you walked in the room, to your credit, there was genuine excitement.
A lot of out-of-borough people who grew up in Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and they understand. That's where the battle is. And you saw where I was over the weekend in Maspeth, where they blew up the old Goodfellas diner.
I saw that.
They got RVs all over the place, illegally, people living in there, a lot of drug dealers, drug users. It's destroyed the quality of life in the area. The city does nothing about it. Cuomo won't even talk about it. I'm there dealing with it, and all of a sudden, one of these RVs blows up, and the fire moves over to the old Goodfellas Diner that you saw in the movie. Goodfellas Diner is actually in Maspeth. That's it. It was consumed in flames. The quality of life in the outer boroughs sucks, Sid. It's horrid.
Terrible.
And none of these candidates, have you seen any of these candidates going into the outer boroughs? Have they been addressing any of the issues?
No.
The city of yes. The shelters, the migrant shelters. No. I'm the only one who's been out there working with the people in the outer boroughs.
Not only that, but I was in the bagel store yesterday on Mother's Day, and I never read the New York Daily News. Never. I don't buy it because it's garbage. But the headline of the Daily News read that the case, I should say, was widening. It was broad. With Eric Adams, there was some house in upstate New York that they raided.
Oh, yeah.
And they had so much on this guy that the idea again that this was about him getting better seats on an airplane. Cover New York Daily News yesterday, all over the paper. It was widening. It was broadening. This guy's a crook. Eric Adams is a crook.
You have to read 1,750 papers, and there are more. And who is the one who first told you all of that shit in our WABC audience?
You did. And then Joe Tacopina, because he's an attorney, he read every single page of it, said, and I quote, if Trump didn't make this thing go away, he would have been convicted.
And remember, there are 9 others. And that's why Eric Adams will dance to whatever tune Donald Trump plays on his fiddle. How high do I jump, Mr. President? Notice he went to visit the president on Friday. The president was asked, why was Eric Adams there? Oh, he came by to say thank you. Of course. He would have been in jail. And he's got 9 other cronies, many of them indicted, many of them who left office. All of those cases are pending, but they're going to go away as long as Eric Adams dances to the fiddler's tune of Donald Trump.
Somebody sent me a text the other day. They were very angry with you and others, maybe even me, I don't know, that this story that came out last week, I was in Israel, actually, when it came out, that he's allowing prayer on Fridays on the streets, specifically Muslims. Now, that's an old story. That it's not, for some reason, somebody put it on Twitter a week or 2 ago, but it's an old story.
Very old.
Okay, so that was not a new story.
No.
Because they were killing Adams about that last week. A lot of very angry people in New York about him allowing people to pray on the streets on Friday. But that is an old story.
Oh, my God. You see cab drivers every day will get out 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And they'll bow to Mecca and Medina.
Okay, good. See, so you're being honest.
I mean, this is not anything new. This occurred long before Eric Adams even entered the police department. Come on, man. Cab drivers have been doing this for decades.
Right. So, look, so there's no argument that you've got support in the streets, that this is a much, much better campaign than the first one, that you legitimately have a chance to win and be mayor. But everybody keeps talking about the same thing, money. That's why Jen DeLandro's throwing an event in Howard Beach tonight.
Yes.
That's why Vicky Palladino's doing it in Queens on Wednesday. So is that the truth? Is money the only thing right now that can stop you from winning this mayor's race?
Absolutely. Because you look at the polls, you even heard John Katzimatidis cite the trifecta. Too bad there's not ranked choice voting in the general election. It would be interesting to see how John Katzimatidis fills out that card, because he mentioned Cuomo, he mentioned Adams, and he mentioned me.
Right.
What would be his first choice, second choice, third choice?
If I had a bet,
yes,
Adams 1, Sliwa 2, Cuomo 3.
All right, I'll accept that.
But you may be in third. I don't know.
As long as Cuomo's last, we don't need another horror story. We don't need this guy coming back from the political grave like a political zombie to destroy the city like he destroyed the state. But it is money. And if they can't attend the fundraisers, please go to sliwafornyc.com. That's sliwafornyc.com. That's a FOR, not the number 4. And if you live in the city of New York, I get $8 for every $1 that you donate.
Wow.
This is called the match. I was the last to get involved in the election, and so I've got to catch up with the money. But as you pointed out, I start out with 30% of the vote. I get 35% of the vote. Not only am I the mayor of New York City, but next year, when one of the candidates is the Republican challenger to Hochul, that person will become the governor, because the last time we had a Republican governor, Pataki beat Mario Cuomo. What did he get in New York City? 35% of the vote.
That's right.
So you see, it's like a tag team. And some of these people, all they do is talk about, next year's governor's race. Hey, let me tell you something. You will not have a Republican governor if I do not do well in New York City, because I will carry that Republican candidate along. Whatever I get, they're going to get. So if I get 35%, whether it's Stefanik, whether it's Lawler, whether it's Bruce
Blakeman. And I tell you, somebody else who I saw in the room Friday night, she was there with Ray Kelly. Can't count her out. She's going to run too. Former Lieutenant Governor Betsy McCoy. Maybe you can.
Sid.
Yeah.
You got 3 heavyweights there. Betsy McCoy, good. She's a good columnist. But she can't compete with those.
You really, if you look at the last polls, and you know how close I am with Mike and Bruce, and I think they're every bit as good as a candidate as Elise. The last poll, at least 44%. I think Lola had 6%.
Well, because remember, she's a woman. And a woman versus Hochul takes all the bite out of Hochul's campaign. You know, where, they're macho, they're sexist, they're misogynist.
That's a great point.
Of course.
I didn't think about that. I try not to think about silly stuff like that, but you're right.
You better believe Hochul has thought about it. Notice how she's right away. Come on in the ring. That's the last person in the world she wants to face is Stefanik. She remembers seeing those chancellors of those Ivy League schools just getting eviscerated. Remember Cuomo? She eviscerated Cuomo at that congressional hearing. She cannot stand up to Stefanik.
No. All right, so tonight is Howard Beach with Jen DeLandro. Wednesday night is in Whitestone with Vicky Palladino on the way out. Curtis, we'll talk to you again later on in the week. Anything else?
You got to do something here. You know, I'm going to be taking that A train as it gets reestablished.
When does that happen?
That's the day after the Salute to Israel Day Parade. Which
So it'll
is
be
Sunday.
a week from today.
That's right, the 19th. But you got to make sure that they don't ice me out of the Salute to Israel Day Parade.
Who's they?
They're
They're not icing you out.
You
can march with me.
That's it. They better not. I'm in every Salute to Israel Day
You'll
parade.
march with me. I will call Mark Traeger today. He's in charge of the parade. He's running the parade. I don't need anybody else. I got the boss now. He reached out to me Friday through Anthony Carone. He was practically in tears. He's such a sweet guy. You will march with me because I know this. Like you said, anytime there's been an issue, anytime the Jewish people needed somebody to step up, you're the guy that was there. You belong there on Sunday, and you'll be there on Sunday.
I will not jump in that hot tub with you and Anthony Carone in your
He looks
skivvies.
pretty good. You saw him Friday night. He looks pretty good.
Oh, my God. He was saying, why don't you come in the hot tub with me and Sid? Over my dead body.
You had a good table, though. Mike Sullivan.
Oh, yeah, Sullivan. And Sullivan said he's going to raise money, too.
Mike will?
Mike said he's going to raise the money.
And his brother Thomas is probably going to run again.
They were the best.
You had Joe Murray at that table,
Yeah,
your new
Joe,
attorney.
of course.
Peter Castellano, Western Beef.
Everybody was there.
That was a great table.
They're going to raise money for Sliwa. That's what I need. Sliwa for NYC.com. And I'm your next mayor. But you got to come through. Don't play me for, the rope-a-dope here. Yeah, I love you. If you don't give the money, how can I compete against all these Democrats who have been running their entire life? That's all they do is run for office, and they do nothing for you.